What is going on, everybody? This is Matt Rose with Infamously Speaking. Welcome back. We're going to be doing another playoff reaction video. But before we jump into it, I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up to our live stream after Knicks Celtics game 2. The chat was popping. The video was fire. Great laughs. Appreciate the community. And I appreciate the love as always. But let's jump into it. I want to start with game 2 of the doubleheader that we had, which is OKC at Denver. Aaron Gordon, another big time shot to send the game to overtime. Then Denver cruises. But I don't think that's the main storyline of this game. It should get a lot of attention because Aaron Gordon has been phenomenal. But I want to talk about two other things in this particular game that I found extremely interesting. The first one being Jokic and SGA, MVP frontrunners, two of the best players in the game, and they both had their worst playoff performances of the year in the same game. So this really became a game of the supporting cast. Which superstars' teammates were going to be able to pick them up? And it was going back and forth. First it was SGA, then it was Jokic's teammates, and it was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I'm not sure what the largest lead, I don't remember off the top of my head what the largest lead for either side was, but the game was never out of hand either way. And it seemed like whenever OKC was about to go on a little bit of a run, Denver would counteract. And whenever Denver had something going, OKC would counteract. And then they were just trade buckets back and forth. But just watching the game, Jokic and SGA were obviously off. Of course, the shooting numbers tell you that. But if you watch the game, neither of them were really able to get into any kind of offensive rhythm. They both had good looks that they just missed. A part of it was great defense. I thought Alex Caruso played a fantastic game defensively. Hartenstein, I thought, played an awesome game defensively. Obviously, Aaron Gordon played a great game defensively. Christian Braun. But when you're that level of superstar like Jokic and SGA, great defense doesn't usually bother you just because you're able to get to your bag regardless of the great defense that you're facing. And so you would think, or at least I would think, that if this series or any game in this series ever came down to which superstar's teammates are going to play better, you would think that is advantage Oklahoma City. At least I would think that. Right? They were the best team in the league for a reason. It's not just because they had SGA, but they have Jalen Williams and they have Chet Holmgren, and Hartenstein's a good piece, and Lou Dort's a great defender, and the other Jalen Williams is a great piece. Alex Caruso is awesome. But it turns out that another thing that I want to talk about plays a massive role, and that is experience. Denver is a team full of experience. The main guys who played in this game for Denver, of course, we all know their starting five. Excuse me. Jokic, Gordon, Murray, SGA, Christian Braun, NBA champions, right? They have the pedigree. They know what it's like to play in big games. They know what it's like to play in close games. They know how to execute in high leverage situations. Pressure doesn't bother. And oh yeah, they got a guy off the bench named Russell Westbrook, who's a former MVP, who's also played in his share of big games. Of course, their young guy, Peyton Watson, I thought he was really great. Hit some big threes to keep Denver within striking distance, and also played some good defense as well. But again, you would think because of Oklahoma City's team success throughout the entire season, you would say they have the better overall team. And so you remove Shea and remove Jokic because their bad performances kind of X'd each other out a little bit. Who would you pick in that situation? Who's picking Denver there? I'm not. And maybe I just don't know anything. And that's okay. But again, this is where I think the experience comes in. And it definitely showed up in overtime. Oklahoma City couldn't buy a basket. They couldn't generate good offense. While Denver was like, hey, we got an all-time great in Jokic. We have an all-time great playoff performer in Jamal Murray. We got Michael Porter Jr., who's playing with this massive brace on his shoulder, who's, it seems like, winning or going after every 50-50 ball and shooting the lights out of the ball. We got Aaron Gordon, who's Mr. Clutch apparently now. He's like, hey, Jalen Brunson, you're Clutch Player of the Year. Cool. You know, next year I'll be in the running because this guy's been ridiculous. He's been absolutely ridiculous. But they have the pedigree. They have the experience. They're unflappable. Nothing is going to shake them. They're not scared of the moment. They want the game to be close. ESPN/ABC was put up a great stat tonight, which I think is very telling. So every time that Denver and OKC have played this year, which is now this is the 7th game, when OKC won, the margin of victory was 20 plus per game. There's blowouts. When they beat OKC, they blew them out. And for Denver, when Denver beat the Thunder, I believe it was like a little bit more than 5 points, between 5 to 6 points. What does that tell you? That tells you that Denver's mentality just needs to be, hey, if we just keep it close, we like our odds, right? It's very much Knicks-esque, right? That what's the Knicks' plans? Fourth quarter, let it just be close, under 10. If it's under 10 in the fourth, we feel really good about our chances, right? Knicks got clutch player of the year. We have championship pedigree if we're for the Denver Nuggets. And that's what showed up down the stretch. OKC would hit a basket, Denver would come back and respond. They didn't get antsy. They didn't get nervous. And then, like I said, overtime, they're like, hey, we got it. It's exactly where we want them. This is exactly where we want them. Moving forward in the series, what should we be looking for? Well, obviously, SGA and Jokic to bounce back, right? Of course. What else should we be looking for? Chet Holmgren. 7 for 19 is not going to cut it, my friend. It just won't. He needs to be more efficient. And then also, from the Denver perspective, you can't continue to get beat on the offensive glass like this. 18-5 advantage for OKC in the offensive rebounding category. They got so many extra looks. Imagine if they didn't get them, what the game would look like. And I know we don't like to get into hypotheticals, right? But you can't continue to get beat on the boards. There was a lot of great looks that they got from kick out threes, off of offensive rebounds that they just bricked. You don't want to put yourself in that situation, right? Where they're just getting a whole bunch of extra looks, good quality looks, because they're just beating you to the ball. So those are the key things I'm going to be looking for. Chet really needs to play big. Hartenstein also missed a couple of easy ones at the hoop too. But Chet needs to be that number 3 guy, in a solid one, a solid number 3 guy. And we know that SGA and Jokic are going to get back on track. Everybody has off nights, but man, OKC needs their others, and the term others is not a disrespect anything. It's just everyone that's not SGA. They need to thoroughly be able to outplay the Nuggets others. Don't let the game be close. If you're OKC, that's your strategy for success. Do not let the game be close. You want what happened in game 2. Obviously, you can't expect to win by 40, 50 points, but don't let the game be close. If it's close, even if you're up 8, with 5 minutes, 3 minutes to go, Denver's comfortable. Denver wants that. Denver be like, you know what? All right, we got a really good chance. Don't put yourself in that situation. So they obviously got to knock down some of those open shots, but the end of game execution offensively also needs to be better. I'll quickly touch on Pacers and Cleveland. Cavs get into the series. First dub, blow out the Pacers at home, 126-104. Donovan Mitchell, what else can you say about the guy? He's incredible. He's been doing this forever. He did it in Utah. He's doing it here in Cleveland. Another 40 ball. They get their complement of players back. Evan Mobley plays. Darius Garland kind of plays because he gets in early foul trouble. Picks up a lot of silly fouls too. And then, of course, Hunter is back as well. Credit to Indiana for taking the initial punch from Cleveland. I believe Cleveland went up like 16 or 18 in that first quarter, and Indiana closed the gap. They come back to tie 32-32 at the end of one, and then Cleveland just clamped down defensively, kept on hitting shots. Indiana couldn't buy a bucket at stretches of this game. And the only thing that I'll say here for Cleveland, Darius Garland, just can't pick up the silly fouls. They need you. You're a big spark plug. Take pressure off of Donovan. Get to the hoop. That's what I really like about Darius's game, is his quickness, his ability to get to the basket, and not only rely on a jump shot, because we see what that can do to you. Boston Celtics tonight, a little bit OKC. I think Darius is fantastic at that because of his speed. So they need him on the court. And then if you're Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton, you can't score 4 points in a whole playoff game. Now I get that they didn't play. He only played was just 30 minutes on the nose because they were getting blown out. But you still played 30 minutes. You can't have 4 points. It's just, it can't happen. I think Indiana, they're too good of a team to have another repeat performance. Do I think that Cleveland comes back and wins the series? I do. I think Cleveland is just a better overall team. But if the games are close, so it's kind of like what we were just talking about with Indiana. Sorry, not with Indiana. It's like what we were just talking about with Denver and Oklahoma City. If the games are close, I like Indiana in those games because of what I talked about on a previous reaction show, which is they were awful in clutch time, and that's what sent them home last year against Boston. They're awesome in clutch time this year. Keep it close, you'll be good. Cleveland, just cook them up. Cook them up. Jump out to big leads like you did tonight. Play with pace. Be awesome on the defensive end. Out rebounded 56-37. I mean, 18-4 on the offensive glass. You're not winning. Well, I shouldn't say you're not winning. It would take a lot for you to overcome that. I mean, 14 extra shots minimum off of that is you just can't give a team like Cleveland that many extra looks at the basket because they're going to convert. And a lot of their stuff was happening right at the hoop. And again, credit to Mobley coming back and playing big, and Jared Allen, just an incredible duo that they have there in that front court. And they were just able to beat them up on the glass. So not going to get too much into that game. Like I said, it was a blowout. Expected Cleveland to get one, but you can't have a performance like this if you're Indiana. So you regroup, you got punched in the mouth, regroup. How do you bounce back for game 4? That's all I got for you guys on this episode. Like I said, stay tuned. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram at Infamously Speaking. We will be posting if we're going live tomorrow for reaction Knicks Celtics game 3. So that should be an interesting one. But as always, think critically, speak infamously. Love.